Hello wonderful people, it's Wild here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build this cozy woodland cottage. This charming little house features fantasy and cottagecore elements with its mossy roof, Hobbit style doorway and its tree trunk posts. It makes for the perfect addition to any fantasy or fairy style world, or as a great survival base nestled amongst the forest. The materials you'll need for this build are on your screen now. Keep in mind that when you're building, it's always useful to have a few extra of each supply on hand. Here is the outline for our cozy magical cottage. You can see that the lighter colour concrete powder here shows where the main walls are going, and then in the darker concrete powder we've got the location of our tree trunk posts. The first thing we're going to do is mark in our windows. Now I like to do this using a temporary block like wool to begin with. That way if I make a mistake it's easier to break and not as expensive than glass. So we have a 3 high 1 wide window and you can see that centered on this 5 wide wall. For the next window I'm going to find the center of this longer side. I'll come up 1 block like this and I'm going to build 1 to either side and 2 up all the way across, creating a 3 by 3 window. Coming back around to the back now, I'm going to have a 3 high window opposite the one at the front. So you can see it's centered in this 3 wide gap between these 2 posts. Coming over to here, I'm going to find the center between these 2 posts again. Building up 3 high and I'm going to go over 1 to either side, creating another 3 by 3 square, and you can see that this is going to start 2 blocks in from the edge of this wall. Coming back around, I'm going to do the same thing on this wall. So again, it's 2 blocks in and 2 blocks in and centered on this wall. And there are all of our windows marked out. Now of course you could go ahead and do these straight away with some yellow stained glass. Next we're going to mark in our location for the door. I'm marking in a 3 by 3 square just in this gap in the outline here, so it's 2 blocks in from the edge of this wall. I'm also going to add in a block above here like this. Now I'm going to take some birch planks and we're going to fill in all of these walls so they end up 1 above the height of this door and 1 above the height of these windows. And make sure we fill in all the way around, making sure we get underneath each of the windows. I'm just filling in the last section of this wall now, coming right back around to the front, and there we go. Now leaving this little section here where we have our door, I'm going to replace all of my temporary blocks with some yellow stained glass blocks. The yellow stained glass here is going to add such a wonderful warm glow, and I'm using some yellow accent flowers when it comes to decorating. If you're using a different colour, you could opt for pink perhaps, or blue. You could switch out the glass to match the colour of your flowers. Now that we've got our base walls in, we're going to start adding in these posts. Now the idea behind these is they're going to be like tree trunks, so they're wider at the base, get thinner in the center, and then flare back out at the top as we reach towards the branches. I'm going to start on this one here on the right hand side of the front door. I'm going to build up the full 5 block height with some oak. Now the blocks that work best with some oak logs are some spruce, so I'm going to add in a spruce stair here and a spruce trapdoor here. Coming forward, I'm going to go in with another log, then we've got a stair on top of that and a trapdoor on top of that. Coming around this way, we're going to have 2 logs going up with a stair on top, and I'm adding in a slab in here. I'll move up to the top and I'm just going to add in a couple of stairs like that, and I'm going to have a trapdoor coming off to this side. Now let's fix in this section. I'm going to be adding in a stair 1 block below the top, and I'll add a log off of that. And to finish off the rest of this trunk, we've just got a slab coming along this way and a stair down the base. So you can see the look we're going for. Now each one of these posts is going to be different, so we're going to go through one by one. But keep in mind that if yours doesn't look exactly the same as mine, that's totally okay. You just need to make sure you leave enough space around these windows for the decorations, but you can always make some adjustments later. I'm just going to add 1 more trapdoor here before I move on to the next post, and I'm going to start the same way by building up 5 diagonally out from the corner of this wall. I'm going to build up 2 high here and add in a stair on top, and we're going to have a stair coming out from the top of here as well. Then coming towards the front, we're going to have a stair with a trapdoor, like this, and we'll have a slab up the very top. Rotating around, I'm going to add in a block with a stair and a stair at the top. And then we just need to fill in this section. So we've got a stair here with a log on top of that. We'll have a slab coming towards this side and a trapdoor going in here. So there is our next tree trunk post. Coming further along this way, let's work on this central post. So once again, I'm going to start by finding this center block, so it's 2 blocks away from this window and 2 blocks away from that window, and build up the full 5 blocks high, like that. Coming forward, I'm going to add in 2 logs with a stair on top, and then I'm going to have a trapdoor just here like this. Over to this side, I'm going to add in a spruce stair with a trapdoor above it. And then at the top, we're going to have another trapdoor, or rather stair, coming out from the same level as that trapdoor. Let's come around to this side now. I'm going to add in a log here with a stair on top. Then we've got a slab coming forward. I'm going to have a stair here with a log on top of that. Then we've got some slabs, one here and one here, as well as 2 trapdoors coming across. You can really start to see now how these are going to create a nice curved arching shape around each of the window panels. Now let's build up the next post, which is going to come diagonally out from here first. Let's add in a stair with a block below it. Then over here we've got a stair, and we've got a trapdoor going in here like this. So that's created that panel nicely. I'm going to add another stair coming forwards with a log on top of that, and let's rotate round and work on this next side. I'll start with a stair down the base with a trapdoor coming 1 block above here, so we're leaving a 1 block gap. I'm going to go in with another stair and a log on top of that. Now this wall is a fair bit longer, so we're going to have our logs extend a little bit further out. I'm going to add in 2 logs here with a stair on top of that and a slab down here. And I'm going to add in a trapdoor as well. Coming up, I'm going to add in a stair with 2 trapdoors coming over. So it should look like this. Let's move over to this side, and once again I'm going to start by building up here. There we go. Let's add in a couple more logs, one here, and these are each getting stairs on top of them. And I'm going to add in a trapdoor here as well. I'm going to count 1 block up, and leaving that gap I'll add in another stair. Then we've got a log, followed by a slab and a trapdoor. So it should look like this, creating a gap with 3 blocks above the window. We're also going to come forward here with a stair and another trapdoor here, and I'll place a trapdoor in here as well. We're coming back around to the front now. We only have a few more to add in, so let's continue on this one. I'm going to add in a stair here, followed by an oak log here with a spruce stair on top of that, and I'm going to add in a slab here. Let's place in another trapdoor. And now we'll come further up the build. We'll add in a stair with a log on top of that. And then coming to this side, we've got another stair and 2 trapdoors coming over. Like this. Now for this one, let's start with our log coming diagonally out 1 from this corner. And we can start working around that. I'm going to add in a stair here and a stair here with a log on top of it. And then a slab coming off to complete this section. Coming forward, I'm going to add in 2 more logs with a stair on top of that. Leaving a gap, I'll add in 1 more, and we've got a trapdoor coming to this side. I'm also going to add a trapdoor down here at the base, making sure it's flipped up that way. And we need to rotate round and fill in this section now. It gets a little bit squishy, so let's start by building up our logs in this corner. Just like this. I'm going to have a stair coming out to this side with a log on top of that, as well as a trapdoor coming this way. I'm going to place a stair from underneath here so that it faces towards this post, and I'm going to have a trapdoor coming out from here and a trapdoor flipped down here. Let's come down to the base now. I'm going to add a log with a stair here and a stair in here like that. We're going to have another log with a stair here, as well as a slab. And then finally, we have a trapdoor here. So let's take a step back and have a look at how it looks. You can really start to get the feel of the tree trunks at the base, and when we add the roof on top, you'll really start to see it all come together. Before we can put the top on top of here, let's go ahead and work on this doorway. I'm going to start by removing all of these temporary blocks. Then I'm going to grab some dark oak stairs. I'm going to place one here and one here like that. I'm going to add a trapdoor on top of each of those and flip them upright. I'm going to go in with some spruce logs, one beside each of those trapdoors, like this. Then I'm going to add in some stairs. So we've got one upside down and one right way up on either side of the log. We're creating a nice curved shape around here. A couple more stairs, one here, and then we're going to go in with 2 slabs. And I'm going to have another log facing out. So it should look like this. I'm going to add in one more dark oak trapdoor just to finish off that curve. And now I'm going to come inside the build. So we've got this panel to fill in here, so I'm going to build up 3 high on either side with dark oak trapdoors. And just flip them like that. And I'm going to add one more here, flipping that down. Then we need to add in the door, and I'm placing this from the outside, looking onto this block here, which is in line with these dark oak trapdoors. And I'm using a birch door, so it should swing inwards. I'm going to come inside the build now, and we're going to start filling in this floor. And for the flooring, I'm going to be using these stripped dark oak logs, making sure I face them all in the same direction like this. This is going to give the look of some nice large floorboards. So let's go ahead and fill everything in. There we go, and you can see that to provide a little bit of separation and design interest, I've run the floorboards in the opposite direction in this section. Now I'm going to add in some ladders. They're going to come up the side here. I'm going to place in just a few torches to light up the space, and then with some more stripped dark oak logs, I'm going to create some beams. So we've got one going across here, one coming out from this corner across here, and then I'll count 3 across and add in one more here. So that should leave me with a 3 wide gap, followed by another 3 wide gap. And I'll fill in the rest of this floor using some dark oak slabs. Now that we've got this floor in, let's add in all of our gables. Let's start on these 2 smaller ones. At the front, I'm going to find this window and I'm going to build 5 across this wall like this. You can see that it's centered above the window below. I'm going to add in 1 yellow stained glass for the window. I'm going to add a block to either side and then 2 blocks on top, just like this. And I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So building 5 across, centered above this window, there we go. We'll add in our window and surround with some blocks to create a point. Now let's work on the larger 2 gables. Starting on this side, I'm going to find the center, which is just here, centered above this window, and I'll build up 2 high. And I'm adding 1 yellow stained glass on top of that. I'm going to build 2 to either side, and then 1 down here like this. There we go. I'll build 2 up on either side of this window, and then over the top, and then 2 in the center. We're creating the same sort of swooping point here, but it's a bit bigger. Now we've got to do the one on the other side. Now to line this up, I'm going to center myself underneath this window, and making sure I'm staying on the same block, I'm going to walk across and build up 2 high. So you should find that you are on this left-hand side of this window. And when I add in my my yellow stained glass, it should line up with the window on the other side. Now we can just do the same thing. So we're building 2 to either side. We've got to add in 1 block here, but this should already be in place on this side. We'll go up 2, and then over the window, and then 2 like that. So all of our gables are in, and we're just going to connect these up, following along the wall, adding in 1 layer of birch planks. And this gives us the walls for our attic space. The next thing we need to work on is our main chimney. So I'm going to come to the back of the build now and over to the side where we have this large gable. I'm going to be using all mossy blocks. We've got mossy cobble here to create the chimney. I'm going to start by creating a little L shape like this. Then with some stairs, I'll place 1 upside down and 1 right way up, like that. I'll add 4 blocks on top of here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to go in with some stairs. So we've got them placed in a curved shape like that with a block on top. Let's grab some walls now. We're going to have 3 cobble walls going up here. And we can add in our first chimney top with a campfire, which I'm going to surround on the 3 visible sides here with some spruce trapdoors. For the next part of the chimney, we're going to be moving in towards this gable. So I'm going to find the bottom block here, so that's above this stair, and build it 3 high. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to place in some stairs now, one facing this way and one on top of that. This is going to allow me to place in 2 more stairs, one here and one on top of here. Then we've got a mossy cobble block and 2 on top of this stair. And this is where we're going to add our other 2 campfires, which again we're going to surround all of the visible sides now with trapdoors. And let's take a step back and have a look at this chimney. By using the stairs, we add a little bit more dimension. Now we're ready to add in the roof, and for that we're using moss blocks. We're going to have our roof extend 2 blocks out from each of the gables. So let's make a start. I'm going to start on this largest gable, building out 2 and then going around like this, and building out 2 from the smaller gable. We're just going to be following the shape created by our walls here. So we've got to add in another block to follow the shape. Now this layer we're going to need 2 blocks going up, and I'll build these along. And we can check we do indeed need 2 blocks for this part of the roof as well, making sure we fill in the corners. Next layer, again 2 blocks up. Let's make our way around. And that's that section of the roof filled in. So for the next section, I'll come around here. Again, we're going to build 2 blocks out, but we also need to keep in mind this gable here. So let's move up and work on this first layer where we can have an obvious guide. So that's going to come 2 blocks out from here, which means our next layer is going to come 2 blocks out from here. So we've got 3 and then we curve around. Of course, this layer is 2 blocks high, so let's build that up. We'll connect this up, and we should have our corner looking like this. Don't worry if you can see some of these logs sticking out from underneath. We're going to be adding in a dark oak border, and that'll cover anything else up. Let's go ahead and work on this side, and I'm going to work on the longer flat side here first. We'll build 2 out from that gable and come across. And once again, let's do the same trick we did round in that corner to make sure everything lines up. So we know that this layer is going to sit here, and we'll just miss over that chimney. And it's got to stick out 2 blocks, so I'll build out 2, which means this layer is going to finish here and come out 2 like that as well. And I can do the same thing on this side, so we're going to have 2 and 2, 2 and 2, and now we're on to our 2 high layer, so let's go ahead and add this in. You can see that I'm coming right underneath this chimney, making sure there's no gaps in my roof. We're almost at the very top of the roof now, so let's add in this next 2 high layer, which I can build all the way across. We've got to come 2 out along here, and we have 1 more layer across the top of this roof, which is again 2 high, and we'll just go all the way across the top. So if we take a step back, you can see what the base of the roof looks like, and we need to add in our dark oak edging now. Let's start this edging by working on the larger 2 gables. I'm going to begin with some stairs. I'm going to place in 2 coming up on either side, and I'm going to jump back and forth between the 2 sides as I do this to make sure they're even. Now for these 2 high sections, on the lower section of the 2 blocks, I'll add in an upside down stair. Then I'll add a right way up stair on top of that. So once again, upside down, right way up, right way up. Now for the center, I'm going to add in an upside down stair, this time facing outwards, with a dark oak plank block on top of that. So there's our base. We're going to go in with some trapdoors now. I'm going to add these on the lower section of each of these stairs as well as up here. So there's 3 on either side. just like that. Let's do the same thing on the other side of the build. And in with our trapdoors next. There we go. We're going to follow the same process over here on the smaller gables, but of course it's smaller, so we've got less steps. So we've got our stairs facing upright here, 2 high. Then we've got our upside down stairs, some right way upstairs, coming forward with a block on top, and then just 2 trapdoors on either side for this level. Like this, and again over on this side. If you're enjoying today's video and would like to access some exclusive benefits like world downloads for this and all my other builds, as well as access to a multi-world server, check out my Patreon. I'd love to have your support and have you join my community. Now to connect all of these up along the edge, we're going to grab some dark oak slabs. These are going to sit at the lower level of this stair, straight onto the mossy blocks, and we're going all the way around the build here. You can see that this is also covering up any of these logs that are still visible. There we go. Now for the top of the roof. Now each of these gable points is going to get a little curl. To create this, we're going to add a dark oak stair like this. Then we're going to add another one facing the other direction. And you can use a temporary block or some other building blocks. I'm going to just place in a couple of logs here to be able to place one more stair curving downwards like that. So again, we're going to place our 2 stairs. Then using some sort of temporary block, we'll add in one more. This is a really fun way to add a more fanciful feel to any roofing design. And our last one. There we go. Now along the tops of each of these roofs, we're going to add some detail. I'm going to start with a dark oak trapdoor, followed by a slab, and I'll just repeat this pattern until we run into the next roof. And we're going to do the same thing along the top. And this should end up with a dark oak trapdoor connecting up to the curl on the other side. Which it does. It really does finish off the roof adding that on. I'm going to go in with some oak logs next. These are coming out of the point in each gable, and I'm just having it so they stick out one block like this. So we'll need to build out 4 for each of these. There we go. And we're ready to add in details to all of these windows now. Let's start down on this section. For this 3 high window, we're going to build across the base with some dark oak slabs like this. I'm going to build up 2 high on either side with dark oak fences, and then I'm creating a small archway using stairs on either side like this, here, and a slab in the center. And of course I'm going to add a flower pot, that way I can add some greenery. For this small window, we're going to add a frame using dark oak slabs above and below, and we've got a fence. And then we're going to have some dark oak trapdoors on either side of that, like this. And I'm going to use this same design on all of our 1 high, 1 wide windows. So we've got one over here. And in fact, we have one in each of our gables, so you can go ahead and add in all of those. And one more after that around here. And while I've still got the design of this 1 wide 3 high window, I'm going to add in the decoration for that. Then we've got our archway and our slab with a pot. There we go. Now we need to decorate all of our 3x3 windows. So we're going to start by placing a spruce log in the center at the base, with some dark oak stairs on either side of that, and some dark oak slabs to either side of that. Then we're going to add in some stairs, one right way up and one upside down. We're going to create an archway next, so we've got some stairs first, and some upside down stairs. And to finish it off, we're going to have dark oak fences coming up 3 blocks. We'll have a slab on top of that with dark oak trapdoors to either side. And then we've got some gates. So we've got 2 here, and these 2 at the base I'm going to open up, creating a nice intricate framework like this. So all of the 3x3 windows have the same design, so we can do this again over here. And while we're around on this side, I'm going to grab some spruce trapdoors and we're going to add a few in here. So we can't place them onto this block because we have this trapdoor. So we're going to raise them up along this section and I'm going to drop it back down on this side like that. All right, let's come back around and do this other window on this side. And just like before, we're going to add in 3 spruce trapdoors to finish off that section. Let's add in our next 2 chimneys. So we've got one here at the front and one at the back. I'm going to come to these blocks here and count 2 blocks over. And on the 3rd block, I'll add in a mossy cobblestone stair. We have another one coming out from here and I'll build up 2 blocks with some mossy cobblestone. On top of here, I'll add in my campfire and surround with some spruce trapdoors. So there is our first small chimney. For our next one, I'm going to come back around to this side of the build and we're working on the larger gable. So we're at the back, I'm going to come to the top here and count 1 block in and add in a stair here. I'm going to add a block on top of that with another stair, then a stair and 2 blocks. And this is where I'm going to add my next campfire. And we can surround with some trapdoors. Let's take a step back. There we go. I'm going to go in with some lighting next, and we're just hanging some lanterns off of chains from all of our oak logs here as our beams. And I'm hanging these at different heights. You can hang them down 1, 2, or no chains. It's up to you. But you just want them to be all a bit different like that. It adds to the whimsical feel. I'm going to come down here next and add in a couple of pots. Let's add one here and one here, and we're going to come inside the build now and add in some more decorative lighting with these lanterns. And I can remove these torches. I'm also going to hang one above the doorway here in this gap, and let's head upstairs. For these, I'm going to count 2 blocks in and hang down 2 chains, and again 2 blocks in, 2 chains. And then in the center of this roof, I'll just hang 1 chain and I can hang my lanterns off of these. I'm also going to hang one in this small gable and this small gable. Now it's up to you what greenery you add to this build, but the greenery is what really brings it to life. I'm going to start by using some leaves, and we're just going to drape these coming down from each of the gables. So we've got a few in here. Let's come around and do some over on this side. And I'm going to go ahead and do this all the way around the build just till I get a look I'm happy with. Don't forget you can always take a step back and make some adjustments. I think that looks pretty nice. Although I don't like how square it looks, so let's remove that and just have that come down that way. Let's come around here and do a bit more. I've also grabbed out some flowers which I'm going to use to decorate the roof, and I'm going to have them densest along the top 2 sections. And then I'll just have a few on the lower 2 sections. And I'll also go ahead and add these in the pots. I've gone with a mixture of white, yellow and greenery here, but you could switch this out for any colour. So in these top 2 sections, I'm going to make sure I have some sort of plant on every single block, and I'm using different plants with different heights next to each other. Then when I get down to these 2 layers, I might just add a flower or some grass here and there. So now that all the finishing touches are in place, let's check out this build. You can see that I've added lots of greenery to this roof, and you can really see the cascade effect now that it's complete, with lots of flowers and greenery at the top and just a few down the bottom. I've also added more leaves around the base of this build, draping down from the gables as well as from the high points along the decorations of the doors, and this helps to balance the greenery from the mossy roof with the base of the build. As for decorations around the build itself, I've stuck to a similar colour palette. So we've got these lovely neutral browns, we've got the greens, and then I chose yellow as my accent colour. So again, in all of my decorations, we've gone with that same colour palette. Let's check out the layout for the exterior decor. If we take a look from a front, you can see that I've placed decor on either side of this build to help make things balanced. I've used some custom lighting in the form of these strings of lanterns to frame the build, as well as some of these hanging lanterns along the pathway. And not only do these hanging lanterns frame the build itself, but if we head over to the other side of the build, over this way, you can see that I've used 2 strings of these whimsical lanterns to frame a small seating area, and they add a really fun pop of colour. And of course, you can customize these to fit whatever accent color you choose for this build. Some other decorative elements I've used in the garden of this build include little pockets of flowers, and I've placed these using just the white flowers here and there. If we come around this way, I've set up a little tree felling area. We have a couple of fallen oak trees where I've just followed along the shape that we get from naturally generated oak trees, but put them on their side, as well as a pile of logs. And this works really well for this build because of course this build has the oak log kind of posts on each corner. We've also got a lovely pond here which with my shaders reflects the light from the house, and if we come back around this side, I've got a little honey section here with a couple of hives and some pots of honey, and this again brings in my yellow accent. If you'd like to see tutorials for all of the decorations I've used in the exterior of this build, make sure you check out the description below. Another thing I'd like to point out with the layout of the exterior of this build is how greenery is used to really highlight this build. So we've got lots of grass around the base here, and that plays into the lush feeling of this build. And then we've got trees going all the way around the outside, and that acts as a backdrop. The white flowers that I've placed around the build help to separate it from the greenery behind and just add a little pop of lightness to the dark oak forest. Of course, this build works great in any biome, but it does look especially good where we have dark oak and oak logs, as that's what's within the build itself. So now you have a super cozy woodland cottage. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you consider liking and subscribing, and check out my Patreon to support me further. See you in another video!